Gracie. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I still say it, okay? Happy New Year. Happy Black History Month. Happy Fashion Month for some of us. And on the eve of Women's History Month, I'm really excited to be sharing the stage with these women who I've had the opportunity to collaborate with in the past. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dionne Cochrane. I'm a creative, but specifically, I'm a producer and a casting director. I work mostly in the beauty and fashion spaces and commercial spaces. I've been in the industry for about a solid 10 years. Hopefully, it'll be longer. And tonight, we're just going to be talking about how we're just carving out our lane in this industry and our businesses. And I'm excited to get this conversation going. So I'm just gonna pass it over to you ladies to introduce yourself.
I'm Kendall. Am I supposed to do something?
We can use mine in case. Just take mine.
Oh, it says power.
It's the power button.
I'm Kendall Reynolds. I'm 28. I'm from Chicago, and I am a luxury footwear designer. We specialize at my company, Kendall Miles, on making high-end shoes out of Florence, Italy in limited edition quantities.
Hello, everyone. I am Aziza-Abdullah Nicole. I am a handcrafted jewelry designer, as most people would say, a gemologist, a CAD engineer, so many other things. I have been making jewelry for now 7 years. I have a very beautiful unisex line that I am so proud of. And now I am a student. I've been a student for the last 2 years. So I've been taking some time off from creating and just being a student and being like this college kid I never was. So it's amazing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ah-Niyah Gold. I am the founder and CEO of Ah-Niyah Consulting, which is a PR firm, but we specialize. Right? Let's keep it cute now. All right. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I like that. Here we go. Maybe this one will like me a little bit better. Yes, so obviously we specialize in PR, but we also specialize in brand development. We do events, VIP relations, etc. Yeah, I've been in the industry for about 9 years now. I started when I was 17, and I've been more than blessed to have all the opportunities that I've had in the industry thus far, bringing me here. I specialize in working with emerging talent as well as talent that has already emerged. And Black people, that is my thing. That's the name of the game, is supporting us and making sure that the work that I do and that my team does amplifies the work that they do and supports them across any threshold, any realm. We work in fashion, beauty, music, hospitality, you name it. I want to touch every industry possible for the time that I'm here on this earth. And yeah.
I love that you love working with emerging designers. So do I. I've worked with House of Amma, Theophilio, Aliette, Bloomfield Works, and some other emerging brands. And I just think it's really important that we do amplify those designers in these spaces. They don't always have the access or the opportunity. And I think that's really good. I'm really interested into finding out why this career. And you can start, Ah-Niyah, and we can go back this way.
Yeah, of course. Well, aside from the fact that I'm on stage with two amazing emerging brands here, just again, I think I understand the nuances of what it means to be an emerging professional in the industry. And through building real relationships with them over time. Oh, here we are. Yeah. Okay, because it tried to eat me last time. So I'm just trying to make sure. Okay. Just building close relationships with, friends and clients alike in the industry. I think I was able to just take on their energy and take on their passions. And, I say it to all my clients, their dreams become my own. And I, am able to see more for them through my expertise and thresholds that they may not even see for themselves. So it's really just a situation where we kind of bounce off of each other and we continue to inspire one another. And, I think for me now with this career, we'll get into kind of like my past because it's quite a lot that I've done to get to this point. But yeah, it's just the passion and it's where I'm at. And I feel fulfilled when I wake up every day to do the work that I get to do with a team of all wonderful Black women that I've been able to assemble over the 3 years that I've been in business. So I have a lot of points that, drive me to wake up every day and continue to do the work that I do. And yeah, just spreading the good word and trying to get people the access that they deserve.
Thank you. And also, Aziza, why this career?
I didn't choose this career. This career chose me, to be honest. I was 26. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, to be honest. I was like, Lord, help me answer my prayers. And I was inspired by other jewelers. And I didn't know being a handcrafted. I also didn't say my brand is Aziza Handcrafted. Yeah, I left that out the first time, but it's okay. We're here now. So I was inspired by another handcrafted jeweler, not knowing that you can actually make your own jewelry. And I was ignorant to that, which I'll admit, because I'm from DC. I didn't know. I was like, you make your own jewelry? I didn't know that's a real thing, but okay. And I stumbled upon a class, fell in love, a workshop. I lied to you not, in a month, I had a whole studio in the corner of my apartment. And I've always been an artist. I just didn't know what medium was calling for me. And I was a sculptor, a painter. And next thing you know, I dove into jewelry, continued to take classes, educate myself, invest really into my brand, make connections with friends, collaborations. And then 8 years later, I became a gemologist and I was like, dang, I'm really doing this. Like, I'm really investing into my career. Like, I'm actually putting money into this, and there's no way, like, this has to be good. And from there, I started off with like sterling silver, brass, and now I'm finally merging into fine jewelry, which is such a big step for a lot of jewelers because that's a whole different ball game, completely different ball game. So yeah, it definitely chose me, and I was like, okay, maybe this is my calling. And ever since then, I've only gone up. I never went down. So I've been blessed.
That's great to hear.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I say.
Yeah, a gemologist is crazy.
Right?
That's
I
cool.
study rocks.
That's really cool.
Like,
That's crazy. I've never heard anybody say that before.
and to be a Black woman that's a gemologist is really rare. So that's another thing. So thank you.
Have you met any other Black gemologists?
There are Black women that are gemologists. It's just a dime of a dozen. And it's like, I'm also a diamond expert. I study, and it's just, it's hard to come by a group of us. So it's like, and when you do find each other, you're like, yes, girl, we in this together. Yes, I got y'all back. So.
And what about you, Kendall? Why this career?
My story is kind of similar to yours, except I wasn't 26, I was 20, and I had just had a heartbreak. I followed my high school boyfriend to Los Angeles for college, and we ended up breaking up like my second year. And you go through all the stages, you're heartbroken, you're depressed, you're in the house. And I was just like, made the conscious decision one day to be like, all right, I'm tired of being sad. How am I gonna get happy again? And I started drawing, and I was like, okay, this is different. I went to school for business. I was like studying international relations. I thought I was gonna go into finance. And then I started drawing, and I was like, I actually really like this. And then one day I woke up and I started drawing shoes, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling good now. And I designs like on like a weekend like bender, like didn't sleep, didn't eat, just was drawing shoes. I drew shoes. I drew like this collection, what I thought was a collection at the time, because I didn't know. And I called my mom and I was like, okay, I want to start this business. I sent her all my sketches. I'm like, I'm going to start this business. It's a shoe company. I'm going to be the designer and you're going to help me build the business around it. And she was like, are you going to graduate? I was like, I'll graduate if you promise to do this with me. And she was like, okay. And so I was 20. I went to Italy. I did like a crash course in Milan for like a month, learned everything I could in a month about shoes. I made some key connections for myself, and I came back to LA, finished school my last year while also starting my business at night.
That's amazing. I also have a background in finance. If you are a child of an immigrant or a first gen, your parents want you to do something lucrative or make it, something that's like worth them bringing you to this country. My dad's gonna hate me for saying that, but it's the truth. So the options were lawyer, doctor, nurse. And I was not going to do that. So I ended up in finance. And I worked at a really big bank and I was in the prime of my career. And, 2 + 2 is always gonna be 4. And that just scared me. And I just wanted to be around creatives. So I quit cold turkey, and that's how I started in this industry, and that was in 2010. No regrets at all, no regrets. So that's kind of like my career journey, but we're gonna get more into you guys. So we got to know a little bit about you, but now let's talk about like the education and your career path. Like Ah-Niyah, do you have a background in PR? Did you intern? Like, let me know a little bit about how you started.
Yeah. Where do I start? I am a lovely college dropout. But within reason. I was hired out of college, which was a blessing. I started interning when I was 17, as soon as I graduated high school, because I knew I know I want to work in fashion in some capacity, and I just hit the ground running. I already had previous work experience. Are we talking about this now? But sure, let's get into it. The reason I was able to get hired at my first internship as an event producer, like an event intern, was because I started on Broadway. So I was a child actor for almost 5 or 6 years of my life, and building up that work ethic, at age 11, that was when I had my first job. And doing all of that through The Lion King and growing up in that space. And I was just very curious. Outside of my role, I was like, okay, well, I want to hang out in the costume department. I want to hang out with the sound and lighting and understanding just the dynamics of what it means to build a production like that. And even sometimes I'd be hanging out in like the showrunner's office and like finance, and I'm like, they're like, what the hell are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm here. Tell me something. Like, I'm not working today, but I'm working today because I have to be here. I don't have a choice. So you need to show me something new. And that was pretty much my day-to-day life for almost 6 years, up until I was 16. So I had about a year gap of just like wanting to figure out what that looked like post-graduation. And I knew I wanted to transition into fashion. And I got an internship. And I just kind of fell in love with what I was doing at the time. And my boss, Brittany Escovedo, who has Beyond 8, which is an incredible production company. And I still collaborate with her today, which is pretty amazing. She saw something in me and she gave me a shot. I was like 18 or 19. She had no idea because I wasn't telling nobody. I was just like, just hire me. Like, I can do the job. And yeah, I didn't tell my mother. I was just like, I'm not gonna go to school anymore. She knows I'm going somewhere. She'll know where. I was making money. I was like, okay, like things are falling in place, but I can't share everything yet. I think honestly, she probably found out maybe like a year or two later when she was just like, yeah, like, so how's school going? And I was like, girl, how is it? I don't know, because I'm not there. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But, you know, my mom has always been a very heavy supporter of me in general. And, you know, I've always been one to follow the beat of my own drum and kind of make my own decisions. You know, she wasn't a show mom. She wasn't one to like push me to do anything. It was always me leading. And she was just like, all right, girl, like, if you feel like this is good for you, then you do it. So, you know, when it finally did come to play that, you know, I'm in the industry, this is what I'm doing, she was like, okay, great. Like, congratulations, I'm really proud of you. And then I did production for about 4 years. And through that, I realized my love of just like being client facing and forward. And I realized I wanted to transition into PR. And it really was like an immediate love story when I realized that it was something that I wanted to do. And I jumped into that, and I've been doing that for about almost 5 years now. And I started my own company back in 2020, which has been the ride of my life and probably one of like my greatest achievements, just kind of jumping into it. And now, like I said, I have a beautiful team of 6 lovely women that I work alongside. And, you know, we support amazing accounts like Brandon Blackwood, Topicals, Theophilio, my goodness, a Goldly, you name it. We've just been super blessed to work with emerging talent that I not see the world for, and, you know, being able to really just change the landscape and change the game, having a team of young women that look just like me, and are just as passionate about emerging designers and making a space for us in this industry. It's been a whirlwind of 3 years. And yeah, that's just been my journey thus far, and I can't even imagine what the next 3 years has for us. I can name some things, but we can get into that later. But I'm really excited just about the course that we've taken, and, you know, the recognition that we've gotten as a team for the work that we've done. I think that's been the most amazing thing. You know, it's not only us showing up, you know, as ourselves, but we're showing up and we're doing the work and we're making strides, and our clients, we're taking them from that threshold of being emerging to being household names, and to winning CFDA awards, and to winning these prizes and getting them to where they deserve to be. And that's everything that I'm passionate about, and I just feel very lucky and blessed.
I'm loving your journey, like front row, watching your journey. It's been great, and it's been like, I've been watching it for about 2-3 years now, maybe.
We've been working together a lot.
A lot, but still, I'm still a fan. So thanks for sharing that. And Aziza, what has your career path been like? Any educational background, or just is it totally different from what you do now?
My background is all education. I am one of those people, getting into jewelry was something I didn't know. And it's retail, it's sales, you know? So if you don't know your product, how can you sell it? Number one thing, if you don't know anything, how can you sell it? Even in fine jewelry, even when it came to the gems. So throughout my career, I definitely wanted to be that person that knew how to do everything before I hired anybody. Just based on the fact that you could do something, I may not know that you're doing it correct, and you could kind of like jip me over, because there's a lot of that in the jewelry industry, unfortunately. So knowing my craft, I definitely took time to take workshops, spent hours at the bench. I mean, hours. Definitely, my biggest investment was actually going to GIA, which is Gemology Institute of America. And that is, if you are into stones, your diamonds, they all get graded there. That's where they get their clarity. And to actually educate myself, because I knew I wanted to take a leap to the next step of my career, which was fine jewelry. And I couldn't get into selling diamonds or gold because of the fact that I definitely wasn't confident, because I didn't know what I was really selling. How can I sell you anything if I'm not educated in it? And you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that aren't educated into some things that they sell, but to each his own. I just knew I'm really, really big in education. And to be honest, the one thing that I feel like my community lacks is the education of gold, diamonds, and colored stones, especially when it all comes from our motherland. No shade. So I definitely wanted to be someone to educate my community when understanding why you're paying this much for this gold. What is a good diamond? What should you look for in a diamond? What other stones are out there? So I definitely took time to say, okay, I need to take some next steps in my career. So what does that look like to get me to the next step? And definitely taking 6 months last year to become a gemologist. And then now I'm in school now, and y'all, this school was hard. Lord, all my life I had to fight. But it wasn't easy because I actually worked after I graduated, I felt like I still wasn't educated. And this is a pointer that I felt like a lot of people, a little gem. Since I felt like I wasn't educated so much, I definitely applied to become a diamond grader at that establishment, GIA. Then I became a diamond expert because I learned how to grade a diamond the way they know how to grade a diamond. And that's the secret. That was the real secret. And so I stayed there, then went to school. Y'all, the way my life was set up, it was 8:30 to 11:30 at night. And I would go to school, go to work, and just because I was so passionate and growing in the next step. And sometimes you take those sacrifices, and I definitely took a lot of sacrifices. And it all pays off in the years, you know? So now I'm just a student continuing to be a CAD engineer, which is amazing because now I know digital rendering, which allows me to make engagement rings and bespoke jewelry, and then that like quote, quote, hip hop jewelry. It's like, yeah, now instead of spending $500, people spending $20,000. So yeah. So you definitely start taking, your mind after being in business, you don't ever want to become stagnant. If you're stagnant, if you're comfortable, then you're not doing it right. You always want to see bigger and better. And for me, bigger and better is making $500,000 next year, then making $1 million after that. Like, I just can't see myself just making what are your investments? And I always tell people, invest in your brand, because when you invest, you'll see it triple throughout time. So yeah, education.
Thank you. And Kendall, you spoke a little bit about college. What were you studying? You said finance or anything else?
So my major was in international relations. Okay. So I was taking like a combination of like business classes and then Italian. So my education was never in like fashion, or my school actually didn't even have a fashion school or fashion program. I went to USC in Los Angeles. And so I'm kind of a self-taught designer, but I go to Italy very frequently. I spend a lot of time in the factory with my suppliers. And so I'm just kind of like an on-the-ground learner, kind of like Ah-Niyah, except you had a job, but not paid.
It's on the fly.
Yeah.
We're all still students.
Yeah, exactly.
So with you going to Italy, did you have like mentors there?
So my team in Italy is actually my oldest hire. Like, I literally found them because Italians don't work with Americans. So they're like, oh, you're American? I don't know about that. So you need to have like a buffer. You need to have someone in the middle. So you need to work with an agent that has access to the factories and kind of makes you more credible. And I found the perfect one. She's British, but she married an Italian when she was 18. So she spoke perfect Italian and perfect English. And she's my hire from day one and the only person who's like still on my team from day one.
We'll talk about mentors because I think that's important. I don't have a mentor. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think my community is like my mentor. All my creative friends, my brother who's also in industry, I kind of lean on people who support me to bounce ideas from. So those are my mentors. But like, Ah-Niyah, did you have a mentor? Is there somebody you wish was your mentor?
I think I share the same sentiments in terms of not having like a direct mentor, but I've been blessed enough to come across people in the industry that support me and that I know that I can reach out to. I have peers that I work alongside that I know in a heartbeat would like pick up the phone if I have a question, like Clara from Chapter 2, Nate Hinton. I am lucky enough to have people like that not only I admire, but are willing to, extend themselves to me, if I ever have any question about anything, And it wasn't a situation where I felt like I had to beg. It was just kind of like an immediate, like arms open situation just from my years of working with them, even prior to me working directly into PR. And then of course my peers who are like also young, getting it. But I mean, I really lean on them the most because, I feel like the lessons that I take on even now, just like as a founder and as a CEO and just as a young Black woman, just trying to survive quite literally, I can pick gems from any of those experiences, whether it directly correlates to mine in that moment. There's always a lesson in something, whether it's one that I have to learn directly or one that I am picking up from my peers or anyone like surrounding me in the industry. But if I did have to pick a mentor, it definitely would be probably Yvette.
Which Yvette? There's only one
Beyonce
Yvette.
publicist, y'all. Because I mean, listen, like if you get like, can you imagine like being able to say like I built a Beyonce? Like I want my clients to be my Beyoncés. Mm-hmm. So just through her work ethic and just even like the type of woman that she is now, I've been lucky enough to encounter her a few times. And not only, through her work ethic, but just who she remains to be to this day and being the most humble and the most open and the most inviting person. I think that speaks just everything to her character and like who she is. And she don't gotta be humble, because I won't even hold you. Like I got Beyonce. Like look, like don't worry about me. But she's very much not like that. And I think just, again, being a Black woman and being able to dominate in the world of just PR and any field in general, I definitely look to her and the strides that she's been able to make. And, she's opened doors for, what Black superstardom and what that looks like. And being able to create strategies and be behind the scenes and being able to build these people up and their talent and understanding them. We've had some conversations about that. So I think if I had to pick one, I'm like, I might have to spin the block. I'm getting a little inspired. I'm like, damn, I might have to spin the block on that. But yeah, she's definitely someone that I look to just daily in terms of just like motivation and moves.
Yeah, that's a good one. Aziza, do you have a mentor? Is there someone you wish was your mentor?
I actually do have a mentor. I forced my second jewelry teacher to be my mentor. I was like, you gonna be my mentor? She was like, okay, no, you gonna be my mentor, girl. But I actually showed up a lot. And in order for her to be my mentor, she really had to look to see if I was serious. I think we forget a lot about that. You can mentor anybody, but sometimes it's not a bad thing, but sometimes some people aren't serious about being mentored. And I definitely put in that work of, I'll come to the studio, I'll do whatever you need me to do. I just want your time. I'll be your assistant. I'll do your content, because I am a fire little content creator. But I'm not a content creator, but just don't tell nobody that. But I really put that work in, and now like the love that she gives to me and the help and the conversations, it has been marvelous. And I am so thankful to call her my mentor and to allow her to open that space for me to be a student of hers. And I also have friends. I have dope, amazing friends. And
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle is.
Thank you, Kyle.
People don't know how much I love Kyle, but Kyle, I love you. And I have amazing friends that are very inspirational to me each day. And when I grow, my friends grow, they grow, I grow. So my circle of people is never stagnant. It's always growing. And it should always be like that. So, and I have friends that are like have big businesses that drop gems. Oh my gosh, the way they drop gems, they are not nice because remember, they're your friends. So they mentor you in a harsh way. They're like, my homegirl definitely did step on my neck one time. I was like, damn, girl, they're a little harsh. I'm your friend. She was like, nope, that's what I can tell you like that. But all the advice she gave me was what I needed to be to where I am now. So I believe in mentors strongly, and I believe in the circle of friends that you keep around you to be your mentors as well. So
I'm curious because obviously we're all pretty much educated and kind of like driven, but like what made you decide like, hey, I don't know everything. I actually need someone to help me. And like what made you actually like get the courage to ask someone to mentor you?
Because of that. I didn't know. I'm not a person that would never, I love being educated. And even there's some people that don't ask, that don't like to be taught. I love to be taught. If I don't know anything, I'm going to ask. I think it's weird when people don't know something, but like, yeah, I know it. And it's like, no, you don't. I definitely was a person that knew where I wanted to be. And to be where I want, always see the future. You know, and to be where I want to be, I knew I had to get assistance and help and to not be scared. We sit in a seat of fear a lot. And to sit in a seat of fear, you never are able to go forward. You're able to just sit still. So yeah, I definitely was like, girl, it's either you ask or you're going to sit here and be stagnant. So I asked.
I think I need to ask. I don't have an official mentor, but I think if I wanted to ask someone, it would either be Pat McGrath, which I had the opportunity to work with her for like a year and change, and her work ethic and like building her brand is like amazing to see. Like my desk was like right across from her office, so I got to see her in action a lot, and it was very inspiring. Also, Jennifer Starr, if you walk into the Gap and you see all of the posters on the wall, that's her. She's the casting director, not only for the Gap, for other major brands too. And she's like pretty incredible. And I would ask her, I actually had an interview with her, and then she had like a pop quiz on the interview, and I kind of like did not pass it, but we still keep in touch. She's recommended me for jobs, and she's like commented on some of my work, casting work. So I kind of feel like she's a mentor from a distance. But yeah, I mean, I might kind of like ask someone.
Open your mouth.
Anyone in here have mentors? Show of hands. I just want to know if anyone has. Okay, y'all doing better than me. All right, so we're just gonna jump more into like the business. Tell me how the first years of your business has been.
Okay, I'm no longer in the first years of my business. This is gonna be year 8.
Okay.
So
Wow. 8?
8.
Wow.
Yeah, I started when I was 21. I'm turning 29 next month. So the first few years, you want me to recap the first few years?
Yeah, like I mean, how was it?
I was spending a lot of money, making a lot of mistakes, and making a lot of learnings. So those first few years were very, like, when you first start your entrepreneurship journey, like, you're gonna spend money and you're gonna spend it on the wrong things. Like, it was my first job. I had never had a job before. I was scared to get a job. Mm-hmm. I knew I wanted to do my own thing, and I had my own vision. And so I kind of just trusted myself, and I learned so much those first few years. And really just spent that time learning the product. I was in Italy every month, and I was just getting really familiar with the kind of product I wanted to make and how it felt to make it.
Oh, wow. And then like what year did you feel like you got the hang of it? Like if you've been in it for 8 years, like at what year were you like, yeah, I got the hang of it now? Or do you feel like you don't have the hang of it and you're still like learning?
Year 6.
Okay.
Yeah, year 6 was like a big one for me. Like I was finally hitting my goals. Like I could sustain my business, support my team. Like I wasn't always looking for investments. Like we were like a self-sustaining business, and we had like a clear plan. I had a core team, and we had a best-selling product.
6 years in. What about you, Ah-Niyah? How are your first few years at AGC?
That's the answer. Oh boy, you said 6 years. Okay. Well, I'm going into year 3, and I am still figuring it out. And I'm definitely, I made a lot of good decisions. I made a lot of terrible decisions. And I talk about this a lot is, I went into this knowing my craft and knowing my job description and knowing what I wanted to do and what my messaging was. I was not a business owner. I did not go to school for that. I had to figure that out. So not only was I, growing a business, working with clients and doing the work that I knew, but I, forced myself to take on another role as a CEO. And that was something that I never saw for myself. Absolutely not. Still to this day, I'm just like 10 down. Like I love the business that I do run, but like being a business owner, like I know my strengths, and I've been able to learn and develop and stay afloat because I didn't have a choice. But this is why people have CMOs. This is why people have CFOs, and I hope to get to that level one day so that I can pass off all of that responsibility. But that really has been my biggest feat is learning how to run a business. I'm year 3 and I am just establishing payroll, like a real payroll for the first time, like not doing everything manually. And that was like a really big deal for me. I got like my first lawyer and, figuring out like my employee handbook and contracts, like real contracts, like really doing everything the way that I should be. Not because I didn't want to the last 2 years, but I just didn't have the resources to do so, and I wasn't there yet. So just understanding what those steps were and what I had to take, I had to, study that for myself. It wasn't anything that I was able to, take or pull from. And I think that still to this day is my biggest feat. I'm like, okay, well, nobody can tell me anything about the work that I do. I'm very confident in my job and my team and the work that we produce. But when it comes to running a company, that is something that I am still learning and still growing and I'm still building. And, I'm proud of myself that, I've been able to do it for 3 years now. And I'm grateful to have been able to get to a point where I'm able to grow and sustain a team and, really have great business practices, because it wasn't something that I was informed of by any chance. But it's still a day-to-day thing. I've had my moments where I'm like, damn, like am I gonna make it? Like, is this for me? Does this make sense? Am I a good boss? Am I a good business owner? Are my rates good? Am I getting paid my worth? Is my team getting paid their worth? So it's a lot of things to think about outside of just the press hits and the moments and the partnerships and the glam and all that stuff. I hope that it's more of a conversation that's had amongst us as entrepreneurs as we continue to grow and, in whatever realm that you decide to be in. Because it is important, and being financially stable and making sure that you're getting paid your worth for your work. That is
Let's
something.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Paid our worth.
Paid your
Plus
worth
tax.
for your work plus tax and a few years over, because it is a lot of work. Yeah. That's really something that I want to continue to discuss and talk about as I grow and hopefully, when I do find my footing, when I feel like I've found my footing, it's definitely something that I'm always going to be able to talk to, and the cost of doing business and what that looks like.
You've been doing it we've all been doing it in a pandemic at that. So like give ourselves more credit. Give yourself more credit. Right? It's okay. It's okay. Anyone else in the room, give yourself credit. The last 3 years have been very challenging. Even if it looks like it's been rewarding, there's still challenges, not only like financially, but even like mentally, like you're saying, like just like, am I doing the right thing? Am I where I need to be? Am I charging the right rate? But we're still here, so that's the blessing. That's the best part of it. And Aziza, like, I love just like hearing you talk about your journey as well.
My journey is a real one. You know, I told my mom not too long ago, I said, you know, you told me to build a business as a kid, but you didn't tell me it was going to cost this much. And she's like, she always tells me as a child, make sure you have your own business. Make sure she embedded that into my skull. And as I grew older, I knew that's something I did want to have. And my mom's very clairvoyant, and she's seen my future before I even seen my future. And she just made sure to guide me on the right path, to tell me some things. And I will say it's not easy. Having your own business is not easy. There are cries. There are times you want to give up. I became so numb to the word no. I remember getting rejected from a store that I went to an open submission for designers, and a store in Soho. And I went there and I submitted and I sat there and I was like, yeah, this is my line. And I remember the woman looked at me and she said, yeah, I think you wear your jewelry better than we can sell it. And I was like, okay. And she was like, yeah, not for here. And I remember going to the corner in Soho, and I was just crying because I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is not going the way that I want it to. And I remember going to another store. They emailed me, and I remember sitting down, showing them my collection, and she was like, yeah, so I don't even think the woman said goodbye. She didn't even give me her card. Like, she was rude. But here's the get you gotcha. The get you gotcha is they emailed to me years later and they wanted to interview me. And I was like, isn't that funny? Y'all rejected me, but now y'all want to talk to me.
So what year were you in your business when you got rejected versus when they reached back out?
The second year in my business. And the thing is, research is key, because I had no guideline to how to get an LLC, what to look for. And these are real things, like how to get an EIN. You know, in New York, you have to submit your business and it has to be in a newspaper before it can actually be an LLC. A lot of people don't know that. Thank God for my mentor. Shout out to you. And I took a business class from her before I went in. So I think when I got rejected, I was in my second year. So my first year, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be this person. I even did my first trade show my first year when I was in, just to get feedback. And the second year was when I got rejected. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me. But I never gave up. And that's the thing. Consistency will continue to grow. When you're consistent, you'll continue to grow. And I'm like, at this point, I invested so much. There's no way I'm turning back, you know? And now I'm at that. Thank God I've been through so many no's. Thank God I invested into, you invest into things. I invested $3,000 into a trade show and I had no sales, you know, but I got the experience. You know, I was taught street smarts and street education. That's why I know how to run a business in a different way. Because you know what not to invest your money in. Street smarts. You know what to invest your money in. You know what things look like. Yeah, that's a get you gotcha right there. That don't make no sense, you know. And there's a lot of things, even in business, people don't talk about. We go into business thinking we need to spend on like having employees. No, you don't need that yet. Even having an assistant. No, sometimes depending on the scale of your business, you don't need that yet. You know, understanding how to scale your business. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that because we want to get so many things at first and think like, oh yeah, this is going to be perfect. But I was nowhere into scaling my business. I had to understand, what is it that I'm selling? How can I sell this and get it into where I need it to be? And thank God for me being true to who I am, that everything came to me. The universe came to me. And when you know what you're supposed to do and your calling, I promise you, everything will come to you. Now, taxes, that's another conversation. That gonna come to you, because I'm still, that's not, let's just, your turn.
Automatic payment.
Girl.
Uncle Sam. Not my uncle, but he my uncle. So yeah, the work, we're all doing the work, but like, let's talk about the fun stuff, right? You guys don't want to hear about the hard work. You want to hear about the fun stuff. Like, what's your favorite collaboration so far? Or your favorite project that you've done?
At Kendall Miles, we don't really do collaborations yet.
We just did one.
This is true.
What? We just had a whole fashion show together. I found the talent. You had the shoes.
Okay. My definition of collaboration is probably a little bit different then.
That's fair.
Because they just took my product and paired it with their product, which was great. The House of Ama fashion show, loved it. Mm-hmm. The looks were really beautiful. We talked about that already, though.
Yeah, but they don't know that. So we just trying to she made really amazing shoes. They went really well with the collection. Shout out to Tiffany Williams, the stylist for that collection. But is there anyone that you do want to collaborate with?
My dream collaborations are Montclair and Manolo Blahnik. Two family-owned businesses, really niche, really true to their vision, really specific. I like that.
We're gonna manifest that. We're manifesting.
Yeah, let's do that. What about you, Ah-Niyah? I know there's so many favorite collaborations. You better say the one we did together. No pressure.
I mean, I guess in the spirit of it being 1 year since it happened, Black Fashion Fair was definitely and
best.
Is still top of my list. I don't think I would have had the opportunity to work on another project like that. And honestly, I wouldn't even be here as a business today if it wasn't for Black Fashion Fair. Just to give you guys some background, if you don't know what it is, Black Fashion Fair, we celebrated 1 year of our publication. I'm the director of communications over there, as well as having my own agency. And they were my first client since launching my company. That was pretty much the reason why I ended up starting HEC, was that kick in the ass from, sorry, can I curse? From Antoine, the founder, and that publication was amazing. We got to collaborate with so many incredible photographers and casting directors. It was just all Black. It was just excellence, and designers, you name it. Yeah, it's still crazy to think about, just because it was absolutely beautiful. Please check it out when you guys have a moment. But yeah, I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to work on a project that was just so fulfilling and so wonderful. And we did it in all of 30 days. We did 4 covers for a publication in 4 days, and really just resetting the standard of print, which was amazing, because people at that time were like, print is dead. Obviously, we were in the middle of the pandemic. But just through the thoughtful collaborations and the thoughtful work and the themes and the essays, and we had amazing input from Aria Hughes over at Complex, Beth Ann. It was just so many incredible people, and then working with Dionne on the casting for some of our amazing cover stars like Maria Borges, Joan Smalls, and Sergio Hudson. Like, it was, you name it. It was incredible overall, and then the team that we were able to build. Just being a part of a project that was just so Black and so excellent, celebrating, our past, present, and future. That's the ethos of Black Fashion Fair as a whole. And being able to take from that was really the reason why I was able to start my own company, and understanding my purpose and why I do what I do for a living, and wanting to work and see the work that I do with these designers created, and being able to be celebrated years ahead by other creatives in publications like these. So that was a really important project for me still to this day. I'm excited for us to work on our next one.
Stay tuned for volume 1.
Yes, on the way. And then, of course, probably would say Black Fashion Fair again. Damn, they got it. We got it. The Basquiat exhibition, which we recently did at the end of the end of last year, and we got to partner with the Basquiat estate, which was amazing, and pairing with 8 amazing designers, basically my whole roster, to collaborate and create works with the exhibition and had them hosted in the exhibition that was standing for almost a year, I want to say, in Chelsea, and just being able to give them that opportunity as designers, and who were inspired by Basquiat's artwork and the exhibition and the estate. So just being able to give them that opportunity to be celebrated in that space and to create works with some of with their inspiration. And being able to create more opportunities like that was really a moment in time, and kind of like the best way to wrap up last year. So yeah, those are like my top 2 call outs, and shout out to Black Fashion Fair, because I'm like,
shout out to Antoine Gregory, Brandon,
yes.
Jadis, Ernest, everyone, Kat, Trevor. I feel like it was a really good team. We didn't really know what to expect. I mean, Antoine reached out to me and he's like, I'm working on this publication. Do you want to cast for it? And I'm just like, how many stories? What's the budget? Everything. But honestly, I didn't even really care about the budget. That was something where all of the mood boards were amazing. ABDM, the photographers, they were the visual directors, I believe. So they came with it. But as a casting director reaching out to certain agencies, and I'm not gonna name anyone, but some of them were like, oh, no thanks, we pass. But shout out to IMG, who actually just kind of believed in the project and were like, yeah, we'll Joan can work on this project, Maria. They really champion us. And then when the cover dropped, it was okay, everyone was like, oh, let me know about the next one. I was like, okay.
Yeah, everybody that said no spun the block because they saw what it was giving.
But that's
shade,
fine.
all shade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that project, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but honestly, that project really sparked so much into me, because in this industry, people will try to tell you that to be successful, you have to work with just insert any major fashion house, insert any top tier photographer, top publication to be deemed credible or successful. But with Black Fashion Fair, it was just a group of us who were all talented in what we did, and just came together and we really created magic. And that's kind of what I want to continue doing, is just working with people who are really passionate and not really caught up in the politics of the industry. We could talk about that, but it'll be maybe another panel maybe. But keeping it fun, I just think that is one of my top collaborations too. Aziza, do you have any collaborations that are your favorite or you're hoping let's manifest on?
Oh, I have the manifesting, the favorite collaborations, the everything. One of my favorite collaborations that I just did was with Alice and Olivia. That was big and major for me. That was amazing. Yeah, I got to actually choose my own stores, what stores I wanted to be in. And it gave me a way to gauge and scale how my brand works, especially in the West Coast. So I'm a West Coast shawty, okay? And it was amazing to be in a known store, especially being in Soho, being on Rodeo. No, not on Rodeo, I'm sorry, take that back. Beverly Hills and Melrose. It was nice. The experience was very blissful. So I was happy about that. And the collaborations I actually enjoy doing, well, I did enjoy doing my girl collaboration with a lot of the friends and the homies when I spun the block on doing grills, but that only lived for a short time. But, oh yeah, I used to do, actually, the one collaboration was with Simone, and we had that in Essence. That was a beautiful collaboration. That was like, wow, my girls are in Essence. This is beautiful. And she wore it so well. And future collaborations, I definitely want to work with Rihanna. That's a collaboration I really want to work with, is Rihanna. And I'm gonna manifest that more and harder. And Tiffany's. I definitely want to do a collaboration with Tiffany's when it comes to their design. I feel like, they're hitting the younger demographic, so I like to bring in a little bit of a spunk, I feel. So yeah.
Okay, and let's see. Some juicy questions here. Hope we get to. Are we good on time, Kyle? Okay. All right. What pitfalls, if any, have you dodged as an entrepreneur? You can pass, or you can think about it, or you want to go, or you want to pass.
I'll think about it more.
Okay. Ah-Niyah? You can't pass.
Wow, you gave that a one of what? Okay. What pitfalls have I dodged? Probably. I mean, I started literally in the pandemic, like psychopath. So, I mean, I guess I could definitely consider that a Black Mirror episode that I was able to survive. We're still in it just a little bit, but that was certainly a time, having already been in PR and then wanting to launch my own thing, not knowing what the state of the world was going to be even 3 months later. That was very interesting. And shifting the landscape of PR had shifted so much just because there was no more like in person, there was no more literally seeing one another. Everything was just like digital and online. So I had to like, really tap into like my stand girl ethics from like when I was in like middle school, like high school, and like utilizing the internet and figuring out how to navigate in a digital space to maximize my company. And that alone was like it was just a very weary space because it was something that we all as a collective of, anyone in the industry was just trying to figure out, okay, how the hell do we do this? Like nothing is in person. We can't even see one another to shoot these collections. We can't even see one another to have a discussion and figure out these collections. Everything was online. So that was certainly a big test for me as a whole to figure out how the hell, I was gonna get new clients without meeting anyone. I've had situations where I actually have a client that I still have not met that is over in Europe, and it's been like, 3 years now? But we still working together, so I'm doing something right. But nonetheless, like figuring out just how to navigate a new business in the digital market of PR, and figuring out how to redefine what that looked like for my clients, and figuring out how to sustain them. That was the biggest thing. It was like, okay, well, we're here. How do we sustain you? How do we emerge you? How do we push you into the landscape without actually pushing anything physically? And that was very, very weird. And then, of course, I went kind of like the first year without having any support. I just kind of did it by myself just because I couldn't meet anyone. And I'm very much like a face-to-face person. I like to see you. I like to know you, hug you. Like, I'm that person. And just like understand your vibe. So it was just really weird trying to figure out how the hell I was going to hire people and not knowing them, like complete strangers. Shout out to my junior PR who was very persistent with that. She did not care. She hounded me for 6 months and was like, so like, are you going to give me a job or not? And she got it. I was like, okay, let's see how this works. And we worked together for almost a year straight without having any face-to-face contact. And again, she's an employee with me now 3 years later, which is incredible. So yeah, figuring out how to scale a company and scale business and do business and virtually was pretty wild. And it's still kind of wild to think about today, how we were able to just like as a whole to just still like push forward and not see one another. So that was definitely something that I had to like figure out. Otherwise, it was very much sink or swim those like first like 3 to 6 months. It was like, okay, this is either gonna work or I'm gonna have to make something else shape.
I think that's a good point. I think that a pitfall that like some Black-owned brands like fall into was like becoming too obsessed with the digital footprint, but not being able to build a community offline. And obviously in the pandemic, we had no choice, right? We had to keep our community engaged online and keep our team engaged through Zoom and, you know, create the excitement that way.
Clubhouse.
Okay, I was never in that one. I don't know, girl. That's you. That's you and y'all. That wasn't in that.
That's how we met.
But that's how you guys met. That's hilarious. So I think that like one thing about myself and just my brand, because in the beginning I was building my brand through trunk shows. So the first 2 years of my business, I didn't even have an Instagram page for my business. Like I just literally had product, and I would go around to like influential ladies that I knew from like my parents' network, and I would be like, hey, can you host a trunk show for me? And like just invite 20 girls, 20 of your best friends. I will buy a bunch of liquor. I'm going to get them all drunk, and we are gonna try on shoes for 3 hours.
Wow.
And like that was just such a great way for me to learn how to sell and to like engage a room of ladies and like learn how to tell my story. And, you know, I would walk away from some of those trunk shows with like 30K, like in like 3 hours.
Wow.
Like,
That's some money.
yeah. So I feel like for me, like for my brand, a huge pitfall that I've been able to avoid is like prioritizing my in-person community, honestly, more than my digital community. Because digital, you know, we sell beautiful shoes. Like it doesn't take too much heavy lifting. Like, you know, some good content, you know, we put it in an Instagram reel, we curate our page.
On a
we
muse.
Curate a muse right here. And that just goes, you know, you post it and go. But in real life, it takes a lot more nuance. It takes a lot more confidence. And it really takes paying attention to people, listening to their needs, because I make shoes, you know, people are like, my foot's flat, my foot's wide, I can't wear this hurts, why does this hurt? And so it's like becoming the type of person that can listen and be like, oh, okay, let's try this. And all of those things I think has really helped me to sustain like an in-person community that shows up every time we do an event, a presentation, a party, whatever.
That just triggered my retail background.
It's so, I like how you mentioned about like in-person community versus the digital community, but like, I think now it is important to have a digital community. Like, so how are you?
You need both.
You need both. But, you know, like for me, a lot of my work, I would say 85% of my work is like word of mouth and people who actually know me, you know. But I also know that it's important for me to post, which I haven't posted like half of my stuff, but I'm just learning to balance that. Like Instagram, Twitter, whatever is also important. I'm not on TikTok yet, but that's also important too. So like, are you utilizing social media more now, or is it just the same?
No, of course, we go hard on social. I mean, the content's top tier. Like, it's inspirational, it's aspirational, it's luxury, it's giving all of that. Like, we put time, effort, money, resources into the content. But it's just like the in-person community, that's the cash cow, you know what I mean? Cash is queen. So
Right.
Instagram is and social is so fickle because anybody can like it, DM you saying they're gonna buy it. But the people that actually get on the train, get in an Uber, get in the car, and come to your pop-up, they're buying it right then and there. And they're buying more than one pair, and they're coming to the next one, and they're posting about it. So it's like, those are the relationships that I really work to nurture.
What about you, Aziza? Any pitfalls you've dodged as an entrepreneur?
My biggest pitfall that I dodged was the pandemic. I started glitching. But the biggest pitfall definitely was the pandemic. You know, I work in a jewelry. So 47th Street was closed. Nobody was there. So it was like doomsday for every jeweler. Like, what do you do? Where do I go? You know, even people that had wholesale production, everything was shut down. But being a handcrafted jeweler, I was able to concoct some things and get in my little lab, and I was able to keep myself afloat. Like, I thought smart. I don't know why. I had so much inventory that I thought I was going to do a trade show one year, so I got some inventory and I just had it. But I was able to sell majority of all that. I was able to make new pieces that I had out of scrap just to throw sales out there. And when I tell you, I said, thank God, Dad, that you taught me how to think smart, because damn, I would have been kind of underwater. But also, I wanted to say that connecting with clients in person are the best connections. I've done the same thing with my business. I took every single pop-up. I made sure that I carried jewelry. One of those pimps that like open the coat and they got all the jewelry? That was me. I had a little folder with my jewelry in it. Everywhere I went, when someone said, oh, you make jewelry? I threw it out like, yeah, so I got this right here. What do you want to buy? I really was serious, but it built such a connection. And also when you're dealing with things that are tangible, someone told me this one time, people have a connection with blood. And when it comes to people that are designers that touch things, people have this infatuation with knowing that you touched this, you designed this, your energy and your blood, sweat, and tears are in it. They want to be a part of that. So people, when I meet people and you create these relationships, they became like your number one buyers. You're actually able to hug and people get to see the real you and ask all these questions like, how was your journey? What's this? And I love those. And even when people didn't walk away buying something, I still had a relationship because I knew they'll come back and then they bought more. Then they'll buy more. And they continue. They're like my number one customers. And it was all just like, girl, I can't afford you now, but I'm gonna get you later. But I'm glad I got to meet you. And it was me being who I was and that in-person connection. I thrive for people creating those in-person connections always.
Glad you dodged that during the pandemic. I think the pandemic probably helped a lot of us more than it did harm. I guess for me, any pitfalls that I've dodged as an entrepreneur would just be like, if I'm honest, just like feeling like I need to have overnight success. Like feeling like I have to be at the finish line, like 5 minutes after I started. And I think kind of also blocking out others and not necessarily being competitive, not falling into that competitive trap. Like I recommend other casting directors when I don't have a bandwidth to do the job. And I'm just kind of like doing things on my own pace. And I think sometimes you can kind of get caught up in comparison of like who's doing what and who's got this cover and who's going to brunch with Anna Wintour and or whatever. But it's just like, for me, I've just kind of like avoided that and just kind of did what felt right. Like just do the things that feel good, collaborate with the people who want to support me. A lot of the clients that work with me, they come to me because they know my work. They have my work on their mood boards as a reference. Like that feels good. So like kind of like just blocking out what I think I should be doing and not getting caught up in like how ahead of the game I am, even though it's probably taking longer than some who have microwave success, but I'm still here. I guess that's a pitfall I dodged.
You're doing a good job.
You're doing a wonderful job. And microwave success, I like that. I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah, that's cute.
I mean, let's be real.
No, you pop it in and it's there. I like that. I'm gonna use that.
How many people have you met like, yeah, I'm a creative director, and it's like, what have you
right,
done?
since when?
Since when? And they're like, oh, I just started yesterday. Like I believe in the 10,000 hour rule, like perfecting your craft, even after I've been like a casting director and a producer, like I'm still assisting other executive producers. I mean, now I don't really have the time as much because I'm mostly called to lead projects finally. But if someone wants me to like assist or just jump on the team and collaborate, I'm not really caught up in titles or anything. I mean, it's important to get credit when you work on a project. It's important. I think in the beginning I didn't really care about that. I just wanted to soak up the knowledge, but now I know better. to make sure at least if the rate's not good, let me get that credit. But yeah,
I was gonna say, just because it happens fast doesn't mean it's gonna last.
exactly.
Remember that.
Okay. 3 aspirations for your brand in the next decade.
In the next decade, definitely global expansion. We're completely direct to consumer right now, so I definitely foresee a successful wholesale operation budding this year and carrying on and building success in the next decade. And men's shoes.
Aziza?
Repeat that question one more time. I was so into her.
3 aspirations for your brand in the next decade, the next 10 years.
In the next 10 years, honestly, I'm trying to be barefoot and pregnant. I am not trying to really be working. In the next years, I definitely am going more towards the bespoken and very becoming custom with serious clients. But, you know, just more in the bespoken engagement rings and the one-offs, because that for jewelers is where the big bucks is. So definitely not working hard, but working smart. So I'm already on that foot trail to be that designer for bespoken and having more small collections and strategically creating those instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna put everything together and just throw it out there. But yeah, so I'm excited, honestly. It hit me the other day and I was like, I know what I'm doing now. I'm gonna do this and I'm on it. So I've been taking the footsteps to it. So I'm excited.
No, remember when you asked me when it felt like I made it or when I felt like I was getting my footing? It was that. Like working smarter, not harder. Curated small collections for my target demographic. I know they're gonna eat it up. They're gonna love it. And then it was just like, everything gets easier after that.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
And who told me to come out with like a large collection? And I'm just looking at it.
Terrible advice.
It's looking at me. I'm looking at it. It's
That's
still
what I
looking
said.
at me.
That's what I said, you guys, in those early days, you just waste a lot of money because you're doing stuff like that. Big collection, like, oh, I'm going to go take this to Neiman Marcus. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. They're going to look at you like, girl.
My
here you
customer
go.
right down the street. And she don't need 10 options. She only needed to see these 3.
Exactly. But you learn from those experiences and now you're able to say, invest your money properly and saying, okay, now I know my next collection is only 6 pieces. That's it.
But they all gonna hit.
They all gonna, girl, they gonna hit so good.
So smart.
You know, I'm gonna go off topic, off the cards for a second. So Aziza, you mentioned like in the next 10 years, you kind of hope to have motherhood. Now we're all women on here, so like how much time do you spend thinking about your personal goals as a woman versus like your business, and you feel like the pressure to kind of like find time for both? Like I'm married, I don't have children yet, but you know, it's like working hard, but still trying to find time for your personal life. Like how do you balance it? Sorry, Kyle, it wasn't on the card, but I'm curious.
Right.
Girl, you would ask me. It's so I have a practice that I do, and I wake up and I manifest my future. And I see the loft that I have. I see the person I'm gonna be with. I want to have a small boutique of flowers. I want to be a florist later on. So that's like another future thing. I want to deal with flowers when I have children. So I manifest these things, but right now in my life, I'm so focused on my business that it's sad because it's like you got to meet it sometimes in the middle. But honestly, I'm in this era of I like being selfish and I deserve this. And and I say selfish because having children, you can't be selfish. You know, having a partner, you can't really be selfish. So I'm in my selfish area. And it's more of the things of now, if I meet somebody that's on that same level and I know for me, a partner for me, I definitely want them to motivate me as much as I motivate them. Educate me like I educate you. We have to be growing. We can't be stagnant. We have to get to it. But I know it is something that I do want. Sometimes I get sad because I'm like, is this ever gonna happen? Because I just keep working. But
Same.
damn, I don't know. And I'm still young, and I know it is, but I keep pushing that number back. And someone told me that, like, well, you said 2 years last time, and now you said 3 years, and now I'm like, well, it's about to be 5 years until I'm at a point where I feel comfortable, where I can just put my bags down and relax. But I know my business is floating the way that I want it to. I'm not in a rush, but everything happens in divine time. And honestly, when it comes to some things like love, children, the universe gives it to you when they feel like you're ready for it and you can handle it. And I just look at it like, when it happens right now. You just got to know I'm a boss queen.
Yes.
So
Yes. I think as women, I think even like the older generation in my family, it's like I can tell them like, oh, I just did a billboard with Google, but when you gonna have some pitney? Like what? Like
you got
so yeah, I think finding that balance of like still dedicating time to your business because you do love your business. Like I'm very fortunate to wake up every day and do something I actually love, but then also I am a woman that have desires, personal desires outside of my business. So it's just always that constant juggle of trying to find balance. So I wanted to just know. I was just really curious. So
I just feel also when we think about it, we keep pushing it. And when it happens, you just gotta be like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm just gonna soak into it. Because being a mother, you never know when that's gonna happen. That just happens. You just never know. But it happens when the universe says you're ready, because that's a teaching experience. They came into your life to teach you something. And so you're teaching them. So
thank you for sharing, Aziza. Now, Ah-Niyah, if you want to answer that question, you can. If you want to pass, but let me just get back to your original question. Let me get back on track.
Facts.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I want to set boundaries. 3 aspirations for your brand in the next decade.
Okay, well, I have like 2 business and then I have 1 personal, but still like business. Definitely global expansion. I definitely see my company growing in Europe, specifically in like the Milan and Paris markets. I really want to also tap into the Japanese market as well, just because I'm absolutely obsessed with that culture, and I'm immersing myself like in the language, and I'm making myself a student to learn different languages so that I am apt and ready to go when I am ready to enter those markets, because I don't want anyone doing business for me. If we're going to have a conversation, you're going to talk to me about my company and my clients and the work that we do. So I am currently kind of also taking that step back to make sure that when I'm ready to enter those markets that I can kind of hit the ground running. So that's 1. And then 2, to just continue to just grow my team, get my office, which is hopefully gonna happen in like the next month or so. Fingers crossed. Y'all all invited when it do happen, I promise. But that's gonna be like a really, really big deal. Just having, I feel like I've worked backwards, launching obviously in the pandemic, and now here we are on year 3. Now it's like, okay, well, I'm here. I have my team behind me, giving us a home base just to like be face to face and operate. Not only for me, I know that is going to be something that's really special for my team, and them having a home and something to call their own, and a space to call their own to operate out of, and my community and my clients as a whole. It's really a lot more to it than just having a space that just says like our company name on it. It's really something for all of us. And then finally, definitely sitting on the board at LVMH.
I can see that.
Something that I aspire to make happen, just because I am face to face with a lot of these higher ups, I guess you could call them, and people that are making these shot calling decisions. And they have a very nuanced idea of what it means to support people of color, and across all professions, whether it be designers, whether it be in the retail aspect of it, whether it be in the PR space, whatever the case may be. I feel like it's all encompassing, and that there are a lot of areas that are not tapped into the way that they should be, and supporting us and making sure that we're at the forefront of those spaces is really what's going to make sure that we're all lucrative and growing, and at the forefront of these spaces as we should be. So I really want to get into those rooms and just like yell in people's faces about all of these things, and really kind of just really sit and ask them what it is that they do see, because I understand a lot of them really don't see it because they don't care to see it. So yeah, just making sure that, our voices are actually heard, and that those changes are starting behind the scenes, so that we're really seeing it roll out across all of our industries as a whole.
So you talk about expanding your business and everything and growing your team, and I can see it. But like with the economy changing, kind of going up and down, do you feel like you're preparing yourself to like
For the bad days?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely like, at any moment things can happen. I definitely feel very lucky that, business has been operating as such, and new clients as well have been kind of like pouring into us as well. And, a lot of people have been wanting to collaborate and work with us and our teams and, my staff. So I am not taking that for granted by any means, but, look what happened. We had the damn pandemic, and we thought we was going to be out for 2 weeks. I was like, I'll see y'all in 2 weeks. It ended up being 2 years. That's crazy.
We were still working, but not as consistently as.
Even for me, like, I had ended up leaving my last job. So it really was like, see y'all never, to be quite honest. So it was pretty wild, but just being able to prepare ourselves mentally for, whatever could come, but also just like on the back end, and just making sure that my team is supported, like, even figuring out like insurance. Like, there's so many little things that I became aware of, as what I had to go through when I, was like out of a job, and like was trying to figure out how I was going to stay afloat, and, like figuring out what it meant to be eligible for, support from the government, and what I need to provide to my team to do so. So I'm thinking about all those things on a constant basis, because I want to make sure, God forbid anything does happen, that, the people that I have looking to me to support them and make sure that they have their lives and food on the table, that they're able to have other options outside of just myself. So that's something that I'm constantly thinking about all the time, every day.
And what about you, Aziza? Like, the economy is changing. Do you feel like you're prepared for any sudden changes? Like, what business practices are you like adjusting to make sure you're prepared for that?
That's a hard question, kind of. The economy is changing. Honestly, I think I'm in a business that honestly, the jewelry district stays packed. People could have $2 in their account and they're still trying to figure out how to buy diamonds. So the world could be the world could be coming to an end, and someone's like, I still need this Cuban link, so I need that bust down, the Rolex. So I'm like, I kind of can't say, because I also have clients that even when I think I'm like, yeah, no one's spending money, they're like, so can you like get me a Rolex and bust this down real quick? I'm like, thank you, God.
Thank you for clout.
Thank you. And honestly, I don't even put that into my even in my aura, to be honest. I think of growth. I don't think of anything like the what ifs, because when you start to think of the what ifs happen. So I think of the all good, so the all good could happen.
That's it. What about you, Kendall? Like, are you prepared for this ever-changing economy as well? Like, any practices that you're having to help you be prepared for any changes?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I run a direct-to-consumer business. So, all of our growth, it happens from my internal team. Like, we don't look to partner with big brands to get ahead. And that's great. That's a great way to get ahead. But like, the way we do things right now really forces us to have solutions to everything and to create our own motion and our own magic and to engage our own community and make our own product and our own drops look cool and to be sought after. So it's like we've done such a good job of that time and time and time again that like it just becomes less heavy lifting. And so it's like now we're at the time where we have opportunities to collaborate with bigger companies, wholesale accounts, and all of those things that are more safe, right, than what we've been doing because we've just been betting on ourselves. So I feel like for us, that's kind of like been the winning formula, like unique product, creative strategy, unique approach that's specific to our identity and our customer. And we just let it play out.
Like we talked about the pandemic a lot because we're still in it. But I think during the pandemic, as a producer, a lot of, sets were closed. You couldn't go on set. And, set has like up to like 30, 40 people sometimes. And with COVID tests and having to have someone on set, like it just wasn't possible. So of course, I got scared. But when you get scared sometimes and your back is against the wall, you get kind of creative. So then we end up like I remember we told a client, like, just ship us the stuff and we'll shoot it. A small, we'll rent out our own spot and create the content.
Remember those virtual shoots?
Virtual shoots, and it just kind of like,
I was like, this is crazy.
It was crazy, but
like a FaceTime shoot.
FaceTime shoots. Like,
I didn't like it, but also we didn't know what was gonna happen, and guess what? Like, we started shooting virtually.
I thought
casting virtually.
I thought the world was ending when we was shooting stuff through Zoom. Because I like photographer was not there either. Like, people was just straight up shooting stuff. Like, it was like, all right, position the screen this way. Here's the outfit. Here's your hair and makeup. Like, I was like, that was yeah.
But people made it happen.
The merch was selling.
But I was like, wow, that was innovative as hell. But it was something else. Truly, I'm glad we're past it.
Yeah, I think that was just a sign of saying like, we're gonna make it. And I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation tonight. We talked about our past, our present, our future. And I don't know, Kyle, did you want to have us open it up for a Q&A? Did we have time for that?
Absolutely. At least, like,
Thank you, ladies.
questions or stuff. Oh, we see some hands. I was about to say, don't all raise your hands at once. We're all for it. Use your outside voice.
Or you want to pass the mic?
I think
We could give up one mic.
would you like? Yes. Okay.
I can give up my mic. Who has the first question? Okay.
I'll take a jog around the room.
Thank you so much. Jan Rosner is my name. Thank you for sharing your stories. And you're obviously the creative heads behind your brand. What I wanted to ask is that you also mentioned that a majority of what you've experienced on the business side was learning by doing. If you could go back or advise any young woman or man for starting his or her business, what would you advise to get what kind of running mate would you advise to get? And I'm not meaning this in a romantic way, though rather professionally, to fill the gaps that are there maybe on a knowledge basis. Who would you have liked to have on your side?
Who wants to go first? I don't have a mic.
First, it definitely would have probably been just outright like a financial planner. I think that was something that I paid attention to more so as an after fact, which was, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, girl, what the hell? Like, you were gonna be making money, but it was more so like, I was like, it was after I was making the money that I was like, oh, what do I do with this money? So now I think now with any of the steps that I take now as a business owner, it's more so just like forward planning and looking forward to the future and making sure that, okay, like who do I need to outsource? Who do I need to tap into? Who do I need on my team to set me up for success for that next moment? And definitely, obviously, money, that's the most important part. Money, listen, that's it. So definitely, if I could have started with anyone, it would have been like a financial advisor to just advise me on like, okay, like this is the rate, this is the retainer, this is the amount of work that you're going to be doing, or like some sort of like a business planner. There's a couple names for it, consultant of some sort, but just really helping me figure out what the structure of my business was going to look like. Just because it was a lot of me like offering my services and me doing X, Y, and Z, and like it was like the overhead just like didn't make any sense in comparison to what I was charging. You know, and it ended up being kind of like an imbalance. So just to avoid that imbalance and making sure that, you know, I'm getting paid my worth, my team is getting paid my worth, definitely someone of a consultant of that sort would have been very beneficial early on.
If I had to tell someone, definitely take a business class in the field that you want to proceed in. And I listened, but I didn't listen hard enough. Get an accountant. Your first thing, an accountant and a business class, but definitely accountant. And we don't really, I think a lot of people don't think of that, to be honest, but it is a big thing because you are able to budget properly, especially, and I know it's the toxic T, taxes is a real thing when it does come to businesses, and you're able to budget that and then understand your financial freedom, not freedom, but when can you put yourself on salary? Because that's another thing that people don't talk about. A lot of people aren't even on salary. They're just trying to pull from their business, but you want to be at a certain point to your business where you can pitch yourself on salary, because it does not happen the first or second year. So, and then the other thing is, don't look at what everybody else is doing. If you need to get a job to sustain your business, do what you have to do, because it's only, I worked at, has had a part-time, I was a bartender. I had a part-time job being a bartender at a poppin' club. And that went into invest in my business. So, and a lot of people think like, oh, I got a business, I'm gonna quit my job. No, do not do that. Please do not. Like, work until you're at that point where you can say, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can actually financially bring money back in, but also can pay this off and use this as my overhead, because your rent goes on your taxes because your business is taking over. See, that's why you need an accountant, because you start learning what you can write off. So it's the best thing in the world. Start writing off everybody. This event, write off
everybody.
For me, I was a brand strategist. So I do like the creative part of my business. Like, I do the product development. So I work mostly in Italy. So what did you call it? A runner? A running mate. So my brand strategist is like my running mate, because she's the one who plans out the drops, looks at the data, like when are our sales, spike, when do they lull, and so we can like properly plan when we're gonna have the drops. She brought all the structure to my business, like how often we have team calls, one-on-ones, who's our next hire, what are the gaps in the team. Like, she's the one who really identifies all those things, so I can focus on the product.
Love that.
Mm-hmm. Everything they said, but also an intern. And I know that sounds like silly, but like a social media intern, because like that's one thing that I've kind of like neglected when I was starting. And like, clients do find you via internet. So like, if I'm not posting my work, like they don't know that I worked on like a Yahoo shoot or, Kiehl's or whatever. And it's just like, I know because I have it on my laptop, but you guys don't have access to my laptop. So I actually would have loved to have like a social media intern early on.
Hello. Okay, this works. Hi, my name is Ashley Cloud. I'm just going to shameless plug. I would also add a lawyer to that list. I am a lawyer. I work with, yeah.
Right, get one of those.
You say you just got one. Congratulations, that's amazing. So one thing that I would say is I've had my own firm for a year. And one thing that I've realized how important mental health is. And when you are a solopreneur like myself right now, I aspire to have a team. There's nobody else checking for you. You have to keep yourself going. You have to maintain a certain level a certain mindset to keep yourself going to stay positive. So I would love to hear y'all's, like, whatever you do, like your practices. I know you mentioned manifestations in the morning. I do something similar, meditating, praying, all this kind of stuff, journaling. I would love to hear you guys' versions of that.
Ooh. Wow. I mean, I'm definitely inspired by these three ladies because they definitely have better practices than I do. I'm super transparent. I'm absolutely terrible with the balance of like taking care of myself and as I take care of my business, and my friends like Dionne and other people definitely get on me for it. But it is something that I am actively working towards every single day. You know, but again, like you said, like luckily I have people checking for me. But you know, it still all boils down to me and how I navigate. Like I recently like came out of a really, really, really bad episode, probably like honestly, like within like the last couple of weeks, where I just like, I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't see anyone. I just couldn't show up in the way that I wanted to show up, or in the way that people expected me to show up. And it obviously created alarm because people were like, I was missing in action where I'm always showing up. You know, and that was also another added thing for me. Like, damn, like I can't be there. Like I genuinely can't be there. I'm not where I should be. And, you know, where I had to show up, like I did the best that I could. But I think that was really, and I've been through that a couple times, but I think this time around was really like a pivotal moment for me in understanding just like where I'm at, just taking a step back, looking at where I'm at, like in my company, in my business, the people that do care about me and support me and want to see me win. And, you know, I was like, well, they all want that for me. I have to want it for myself. And I have to make sure that I'm taking the time to invest in myself and my time and my spirit. And basically like my first like stride into that, I woke up one day and I told my team, I was like, I can't show up today. I cannot do work today. I cannot have another conversation. I cannot speak. I need to take this day to just completely just be in solitude and reset. And I will show up tomorrow in the best way that I can. But right now I don't have it. And I think that that did something for me in a way that I didn't even expect, because I feel like for the first time I took a stand for myself, and it wasn't, this is the Ah-Niyah that we need you to be. It was me saying, this is the Ah-Niyah that I can give you, and I can't give you anything right now. But if you give me this 24 hours, I can be at least half of that tomorrow. And, you know, taking more time out the next day, I can build myself back up to the person that, you know, not only that I'm expected to be, but the person that I want to be. And that's something that I constantly play through every single day as a very extroverted, introverted person. You know, it's a lot of things to it. And I'm definitely learning more about my mental the more that my business grows. But yeah, I think just really being reflective and looking inward and just making sure that you're honest with yourself, you know, in whatever business that you're in, that you are taking care of yourself first and taking a stand for yourself, because nobody else can want it more for you than you do.
Sure.
I go hard, though. I go hard when it comes to mental health. I go hard. Like, I go real hard. Follow me. Follow me. You'll get inspired. Facials, massages, acupuncture, shopping, sleep.
Sleep.
All of it. Like, I go so hard. Like, I do not play. Like, I take it so seriously, because it's just like, without it, life is so miserable. And so I encourage it for my team. Like, my gift to my team was, I'm buying y'all a facial. Like, pick the spa, pick the treatment. Like, take a moment to yourself. Like, that was my Christmas present to my team.
Your team?
Like, it's everything. And it just makes me feel better, more creative, more beautiful, all the things.
I will say that if you can't show up for yourself, how can you show up for anybody else? That's number one.
Exactly.
And see, I'm an alchemist. And being an alchemist, I transfer energy to energy, because I'm dealing with minerals, stones, you know, all these things hold energy. So I can't be in a place. I know how to say no. Nope, I don't want to do it. If it doesn't align with me, I know how to say no. That's the number one thing. And being comfortable with saying no to something, listening to your intuition, things that will make you feel away, or things when you got too much on your plate, like, I can't do this. And it was a point at one time where I worked myself so much that I became sick. And I didn't even realize it. And my doctor was like, I was like, but I'm so healthy. And she was like, yeah, And I was like, but I'm a vegan, I'm plant-based, I walk, I'm this. And she's like, do you sleep? And I'm like, no. And she was like, do you meditate? Girl, when I'm at the bench working. She's like, well, there's a lot of things you don't do to focus on yourself. And after hearing that, I'm like, sleep is delicious. I love to sleep, and I take advantage of my Sundays and my weekends. I will sleep. Another thing, I cut myself off at a certain time. I work 9 to 5. My phone's on Do Not Disturb, really implementing these things into your life. If I don't feel like it, I don't feel like it. I'm sorry. And if I don't want to work on the jewelry today, I'll email someone like, it didn't align with me today.
Oh my God.
It didn't. But you want to know something which is so crazy? People respect that, because when I was working with grills, let me show people, this is going to be in your mouth, okay? Do you know I will work on a grill at the beginning of the month? I'm so sorry to all those people that purchase grills from me, because they want to get them back until a month later. But they didn't know I was going through my own transition of life. I can't work on your piece. I'm not aligned with myself. You want me to put some energy into this and you wear it, and then you're going to wonder why everything that you're saying is coming toxic and something. Like, I'm toxic right now, girl. I am not in the best place. Let me have my time. Not saying I was toxic, but like, let me have my time. And I really communicate that, and thank God I have a supporting family. Because I don't like calling people followers or fans, family, because people understand and they respect that. And number one thing in business, if you respect yourself, people are going to respect you. But if you keep it honest with others, people are going to respect. They know that you need your time. And the person that doesn't know that you need your time and that focusing on themselves, that just doesn't align with you anyway. You're not supposed to be working with them. So I definitely am big on the cutoff time, focus on yourself, knowing how to say no, and your health is the biggest health. So no is people don't like the word no, but I love it.
No, listen, it took me a long time. It's so funny you mentioned that. It took me a long time to say no, because you're thinking oh, I have to do every job that comes my way because I don't know what tomorrow looks like. So I would just take everything, not say no, but my mental health got better when I started saying, no, I'm not available. And I don't have to let them know I'm double booked or I'm not double booked. I'm not available. And one summer I turned down 2 major campaigns, and I just booked a ticket and went to Spain. And the producer was like, are you available for this shoot? And I'm like, no, I'm in Madrid right now. I'll be back in 2 weeks. So I think not every time it's Spain. Sometimes it's just calling up my friend. I'm like, yo, you want to go to the park? You want to go to the cafe? Or you want to just watch a movie? I have movie nights with some of my friends just to close the laptop and just stop thinking about work. And I think that helps so much more than constantly being 12-hour, 15-hour days. So that helps my mental health. But yeah.
But by the way, you're still in year 1. So it's this is your time to be figuring it out. Our solutions may not be your solution. This is the time. We all went through year 1 already. So we're on the other side of it.
And your friends are your support team. I swear they help you through that mental health. They'll be like, girl.
Hey, Tom.
Friends. Thank you, friends. Hey, friends.
So I will start by saying that, to your point, Aziza, actually me and Aziza met in the pandemic. I was actually modeling for her jewelry line.
And
Full circle. And we reconnected recently at a new career that I just got into. So that's one thing. Also, I will say that motherhood does not put a pin in anything that actually fuels you. And I'm just speaking from my own perspective. But my question was, you all seem to have a wealth of knowledge in your various industries. and you all pull some sort of emphasis on being a woman, maybe being young, being, starting where you didn't have any sort of mentorship. What, if any, plans do you have for giving back in the future? I don't expect you to have like a set answer. I know exactly what I'm going to do.
For giving back?
For giving back and maybe mentoring in the future?
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually want to buy brownstone. I actually want to buy a brownstone and have art classes that are free to the children in the community, but charge the adults. And the payment from the adults actually taking the classes go to the children, and actually having proper gallery shows for children, and understanding that you can be an artist at 10. It's a real thing. And actually having their paintings and their artwork for sale. So I know I was an enrichment teacher, and what gives me so much joy is seeing the children in the community knowing that they can be something that they want to do, and the artist isn't talked about, because sometimes we look my mom, thank God, my mom was like, you're going to be an artist. But she definitely said no to me being a hairstylist, but she was like, yeah, artist. But it's a real career. So making sure that the children in my community know that it is possible. So that's one thing I want to get back, definitely.
I love that. I don't think there's a day that I wake up doing the work that I do that I don't feel like I'm giving back, just because of the clients that I work with, literally like working with kids that literally are just coming out of college, and I see their talent and fostering that. And I have some clients that I work with pro bono, just because I believe literally in what it is that they're creating, and that through the work that we do and create together, that we will get across that threshold, the money threshold. So it really just depends. And then also, like, even on the most daily scale, I'm very connected to just like my community and like my followers and whatever that, and all that stuff, like social media and things that I built. And I have so many people that reach out to me just on the daily basis, just like via DM, via a tweet, via an email, just like asking for a minute of my time. And I'll always find that time just to jump on a Zoom, whether it's 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever the case may be, just to let someone know that I'm here and that they can have a conversation and ask me anything, and just making sure that they understand that they have space in this space. That's something I'm very adamant about, and I definitely want to make sure that I am pouring into my community and my peers around me, and being able to be a resource. I say that to everyone, even to people that I don't work with directly. If I make myself very accessible in that way on purpose, just because I do want to be able to support in any way outside of just my direct line of work, just because I have many connections, and I have an amazing community that I've built. And, I work, with amazing people like casting, like Dionne, or literally Kendall, who has shoes, Aziza, and jewelry. And I meet so many different people that are passionate about these areas, whether it be they want to be a buyer, they want to work in retail, whatever the case may be. If I have that connection and someone asks me for it, I have absolutely no problem bridging that gap, just because I want to see them win and I want to see them grow in that space and to see more of us. So anything that creates an opportunity for someone else, I'll do that any day, every day, all day. So that's my way of giving back. Like I'm never gonna stop.
I've seen her do it, so she's not even lying. She's telling the truth.
One of my favorite things to do is to take other designers that I know are having production issues with me to Italy, and I introduce them to my team. I've actually, two of my colleagues that are based in New York, they both make bags. I took them to Italy with me and introduced them to my team and some new manufacturers over there, because it's just much more sustainable over there. And now their manufacturing is running more smoothly. So that's something that I like to do for black designers specifically.
Thank you for not being a gatekeeper. That's
Exactly, because gatekeepers exist in this industry. Some of them look like us, and that's another conversation. But and because of that, because of my encounter with some of those gatekeepers, I've just made a promise to myself to be a resource, whether it's acknowledged by the public or not. I've given back. I've gotten people jobs at Condé Nast. I've gotten people jobs for the Oscars, just even at the Super Bowl. And like, I'm behind the scenes. I'm not saying, hey, you know, her rent's being paid because of me, but like, I am a resource. 9 times out of 10, if you reach out to me, you say you're looking for a job, I can definitely connect you with someone and you will get paid. And that's really something that I don't take a cut from it. You don't have to slide me something on the side. Like, I literally just do it because I know when I started, there weren't that many people like taking me under their wing. And if they did, they knew that they were kind of like doing me a favor because they know I couldn't really get into certain spaces because there weren't that many Black women or Black or POC talent in those spaces. So like, I have a spreadsheet of like hairstylists, makeup artists, photographers, set designers, and like, because I'm friends with like, or I've built relationships with clients, sometimes even if I'm not working on a project, I can say like, hey, for that campaign, you can hire the following, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people trust me because they know like I'm dedicated to like quality, and like whoever I'm recommending, like I know that my name is going to be connected to it as well. So they just trust that I'm going to pick someone that can represent the brand the same way I represent their brand. So I'm already giving back. So
Thank you, Dionne, for that, because you have definitely came through with the, here's a casting, I don't know, but you are definitely loved for that, because it's not too many people out here that are so, one of your love languages is gifting and giving. Like, you're very, you're very selfless. And I thank you for being that, especially for a community of creatives, Black women, Black men. And I thank you, and you the GOAT.
Yes,
for real.
thank you, Dionne.
thank you.
Sorry. No. Fight for
Rock, paper, scissors.
I did see your hand. That's what I was going for.
You kind of already asked my question, and I just wanted to thank you for all of you for like sharing your stories. It's so inspiring. But I'm curious, like, amidst running your own business and being an entrepreneur, how you nurture your creative side as well.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You just hit, I was just going through that not too long ago. I'm sorry. I had creative block for like the longest. And honestly, I don't know if you were done, but I kind of was like, damn, universe. Sorry. I was just gonna say that that's the hardest. That is hard. For me, that's hard, because you could put so much creativity into one thing and then create a collection. And then you get to the next one, you like, where the hell am I going with this? And what do I feel? And honestly, someone had told me, always root back to like I know I would go back to my upbringing, like family, culture, love, all these things. And lie to you not, I feel like on Monday, I was on the phone with my sister and I was like, I got it. I understand my 3 collections. I got it. And it's just understanding, like, it just takes time, because sometimes it may take a year, it may take something, but when it happens, you got to grab onto it. And it's not easy. We can't say, oh, well, go on a retreat or try to figure it out. For me, that wasn't easy. It was just that feeling. It had to come, because when that feeling comes, you're more passionate. I don't know. It's definitely not an easy thing. It was, as an artist, it's definitely, as designers, I don't know, do you go through the same as well?
Of course. And I think it's interesting that even just the timeline that you said you've been in this rut and you just recently came out of it. It's like, I feel like the main piece of staying creative and staying inspired is living life. So it's like when the lockdown and COVID and all that happened, and like we were forced to be in the house, we couldn't go nowhere, travel was weird. Like, as a creative person, it's like you're not really living the life we were living that kept us inspired and seeing new things and all that. So, I mean, I feel like the other side of the coin when it comes to staying creative is you can't always wait for inspiration. because like you said, it could take a year, it could take 10 years. Like you never know when it's gonna strike. So it's like, then you just have to lean on good business. What's gonna bring in some money? What's gonna sell? You know what I mean? What can you market? What can you make fresh? And yeah.
Recycling.
Yeah, no, this is an interesting one because I think for my line of work, people don't typically, I guess, like consider it creative. We're very creative as publicists, and we get to the storytelling aspect of it, and we have to figure out ways to make people care. Because you can have an amazing designer and amazing clothes, but how is that going to translate to a consumer and to editors and to celebrities and whatnot? So being able to look at the work that they've drawn up and the collections that they've produced, I'm very into making sure that I'm very involved in that process and working really close with my clients and seeing their creative process, because it inspires me to be able to translate that out into the world. And it sparks my creativity, and we get into the experiential aspect of things, and we're brainstorming ways to again bring that message full circle. So I feel very lucky that not only do I get to do the work that I like to do just as a publicist, but also being able to tap into my creative nature, and inspire and come up with amazing ways to really reel it in and, kind of put a bow on what it is that they're trying to sell and what they're trying to create. And it really kind of is like it's a 360 thing. We're all, a part of that larger conversation, and it's very fun and it can be very creative. So I definitely get to tap into that outside of just, doing the day-to-day stuff.
Me, I just make a mood board, or honestly, watch a random movie with a friend. Like I recently watched one about volcanoes, and my friend and I were like so inspired by it. It was like so weird, but it was just still inspiring. Or sometimes just taking a road trip to a beach. For me, if I have the opportunity, I'll go home. I'm from Jamaica, so I'll go home and visit family and disconnect for a little bit. And like every time I disconnect, I feel like I get recharged, and like some of that creative energy comes back to me. So that's like what I do. I don't know if it works for everyone, but like disconnecting in the summer, I do kind of force myself to disconnect for at least 10 days. And that helps. And I've been doing it for about 3-4 years, and it helps tremendously. So.
I will say key learnings from the night: take naps, get rest, get an accountant.
Pay your taxes.
That's in the accountant. But yeah, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Closing remarks that any of you have for anything?
Let's work together this year. So many talented people in this room. Hit me up, send me an email, but not on Sundays. That's my big thing. Like if you send me an email on Sunday, I'm not gonna read it. But yeah, like reach out. I think that's something I'm also like learning to do too, is just reaching out to everyone and collaborating. Because sometimes you think people are too busy or they don't want to collaborate, and then you find out they've been wanting to work with you for like 2-3 years. So just like reach out.
I'm new to New York. I just moved here February 1st, and I do need friends.
Girl, let's go out. I'm vegan though. We could go out, eat some food. Okay.
No, I'm hungry. Shoot.
Take advantage of the creatives. I will say when you meet a creative, I'm still learning certain things, but take advantage of meeting new people and saying like, I want to work with you, and just being honest and seeing where you can fit in with them and they can fit in with you, and actually knowing that you're capable of doing everything, because sometimes we limit ourselves, and just know that you are that bad king or queen inside. Okay.
Make sure that you guys are pouring into your community. Again, networking, obviously making sure that you yourself are looking ahead, but making sure that you're also looking literally right next to you, because those are going to be some of your strongest supporters, your strongest collaborators. They're not far. They're obviously look ahead, aspire, dream. You can work with the top dogs, but truly the magic that you're going to make are with the people that are literally sitting right next to you that you know closely, and just literally like continue to inspire one another and work together, because that's going to be your best work. That's going to be your money. That's the money right there in each other and right over your shoulder. So always keep that in mind.
In these rooms, we'll be doing these things, these talks monthly, but purposely curated small room. Talk to each other, get to know other people, get to know them. We can go out to the bar after this. It's perfect.
Yes, perfect timing. All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And now for my comedy special coming out on HBO Max. I'm just. Somebody come take my mic.